Not to be confused with 2020's Bodycam, which has two words. The Shudder found footage Bodycam is one word, and it features some cops having pretty much the worst night of their lives. Two police officers investigate a domestic dispute that winds up with an accidental shooting. Not wanting to be crucified by the public, the officers attempt to cover it up, only to uncover that the cameras aren't the only things watching them. This is a quick 75-minute movie and was written and directed by the same person who did that other Shudder horror, Night of the Reaper. Now here we follow two cops on their nightly patrol when they're called to the roughest part of town on a domestic situation. When they arrive, the house seems deserted, other than the large number of supposed tweakers hanging around the neighborhood in some sort of oblivious stupor. Now, as the two officers search the home, looking to find out why the call was placed and if someone was indeed in need of assistance, they witness some freaky, unnatural movements from a couple who end up getting dead. Now from there, it's a series of terrible decisions, all compounded by the now coherent tweakers throughout the neighborhood chanting, "You took one of his, he takes one of yours." So that's immediately unsettling and mysterious. Now, the rest of the movie, it follows the cops around as they try to cover up the accident, all while delving deeper into some potential trouble. Now I loved the atmosphere that's created here. This takes place all at night, so the shadows work to hide spooky things, turning regular shadows into threatening visions, further tormenting the already panicked officers. As you'd expect with a found footage movie that is captured mainly through body-worn cameras, there are multiple portions where the visuals are all but impossible to discern. The jumbling is necessary to suck us into the illusion of the story, but there does come a point when it's just too much. The imagery, it's so jostled and then staticky, it's useless to try and figure out even what's going on. I do appreciate, though, that we're also availed to some of the car cameras. So even when there are chunks that are nothing but a blur, the movie will also shift to the other perspective that showcases something crisp, smooth, allowing our senses to recalibrate for just a bit before being thrown right back into the chaos. There's a lot of lore that's created within the storytelling, but unfortunately, it's also vague that there's no backing to create a deeper fear or trepidation for the characters. We're shown some visuals towards the end of the film, and while these are impressively not okay, the terror would be more palpable and memorable if we had more to go on other than murmurings of some underman, like he's one of the Fruit of the Loom guys. This is a key component the story negates. We don't need a full prospectus on all the information for this threat, but it would be nice to have a cursory knowledge of what it is that is making all of these tweakers act strangely while pursuing the two police officers. The movie works well if you don't question too many things and just simply go along for the ride for what it is. For example, the entire premise behind a found footage movie is that at some point the recordings are discovered and then played back, sometimes for a mystery, other times showcasing the event as a horror that is unexplained but still terrifying. Here, thanks to the way this ends, I'm confused about the logic behind the footage that's being found. From what we're shown, even told by the narrative, is that the cameras are not recovered. So yeah, you're just going to have to ignore that glaring part and move along with the story. There's also a sequence that feels as though it's inspired by a scene from the fantastic In the Mouth of Madness. And while it does work to create this never-ending sense of dread, because we've not been provided with any sort of lore, the effect isn't able to nail the futility that it's intending to deliver. Now, some excitement is created by the chase and the tension that the officers are encountering, not by any sort of connection to them, though. We know basically nothing about them, other than some very flimsy details about their current life status. And outside of that, they're nameless and anonymous cops who happen to piss off the wrong thing that lives under the stairs. Now, I know it probably sounds like I hated this more than I liked it, but as a quick one-time watch, it wasn't half bad. I mean, yeah, the world building needs a ton more foundation, and the characters could have benefited from a little more development and time just before they get wrapped up in all the madness. But for a 75-minute contained horror, the movie establishes some decent suspense and dread, using twisting, dark passageways, urgent momentum, and then maze-like escape routes that are coupled with a disturbing set of visuals. Bodycam works when you don't dwell on too much of the logic, so turn off the lights, and most of your brain, and then let the chaos consume you for a bumpy ride. There's no sex or nudity, almost non-stop profanity, and a bunch of violence. I give Bodycam 3 out of 5 couches. Now, this isn't the best horror that you're going to see this year, but it is light years away from being the worst. Do you enjoy found footage movies? I mean, they've mostly been overdone, but there are always some that do stand out. Now, for me, one of my favorites isn't a horror, but Chronicle, it is certainly worth a watch. But then there's also The Blair Witch Project, Wreck, The Bay, Hell House LLC. They're also excellent. Let me know some of your favorites, though, in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.